Yep. We are there.
Are we good?
Yep.
Let's go.
Um, I think we are live,
Are we?
but somebody has to check. We are live.
Yes, I see you're live.
Yeah, that's live.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Good. We just didn't have a intro. Hey, good. 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 So
So,
let's leave you, Sarah, to start.
everyone, and we go. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, and we do apologize for the short delay due to technicalities. But we are here. All the team is here. Your speaker is ready to really give you the stuff that she has prepared. And before we do so, let's see who is in the house. We can see that Awofia Joe is here from Dummy. Welcome, Joe. And DRE, something Tavia, Evelyn, Dr. Evelyn Tavia is here. Hello and good evening, all. Doctor, good to see you again on the platform. It's been ages. And what do I have to say? Please share the link to all your network and have your colleagues as well as your bosses and your family members join in. My name is Sarah Jessie Appiah. I'm joining you from Geneva, Switzerland, and I believe there are others on the call who are also joining us. So please put in the chat where you're joining us from and what you are expecting to learn today from today's topic. Right, so if you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, please do so. And we just start rolling straight away. We know Maame. Maame has been with us for quite some time now. Last year, she took a break, but she's back. And today, we have episode 250, that is managing multi-generational teams. We are in for a ride, so I'll just invite Maame to join me as I prepare to read out her profile. So, Maame Ekua Gaisey is a people's enabler. She's a growth partner and idea specialist, a leading culture transformation consultant, and seasoned HR executive. She currently serves as managing partner at 565 Limited, and she'll tell us a little bit about that. With over 18 years of experience, she has supported organizations to grow their human capital, establish businesses, and build thriving, profitable cultures. Her passion lies in working with people, driven by the belief that enabling individuals to become the best versions of themselves is a priceless gift, one that impacts not only the person, but also their families, organizations, and society at large. So, Maame, could you join me on the platform? A big welcome to you. This is your platform, and we are happy to have you in 2026. Maame, please join me. Thank you. All right, so whilst Maame is joining us, let's see who else have joined. I can't see any more people signing in, but I know you are there, so please let us know and tell us where you're joining us, what you would like to learn from today's topic, managing multi-generational teams. So let's see whether our tech department is working or functioning as it should. All right, perfect. Okay, so as Maame joins us, I've seen Rosalind from Accra joining in. Rosalind Pratt, great to have you here with us. And let me see in the comments box what you understand by multi-generational teams. I believe, on my part, that these are people from different generations. That is, we do have the baby boomers, we do have Gen Z, we do have the alphas, we do have whatever you call them, the veterans. So let me see in the comments what you understand by multi generational teams. All right. Yes. Mami is waiting to join us. She's all set, but I believe we have a little technical challenge. And there she is. Great to
Yes.
have you, Mami. Look at
Thank
you.
you, Sarah.
Look like an alpha. So, Mami, tell us, you've been away for over a year. What have you been up to for the past year that we did not connect with you? Just tell us before you take us away.
Great. Thank you very much, Sarah. It's always a joy to be on this platform. The growth conversations that happen here are such life-saving to a lot of people that are looking to grow their careers, their businesses, and their leadership skills. So I have been watching from afar once I haven't been here, and I have been enabling the people in my space that are looking to grow. So that's what I've been up to.
Excellent. So give us what you have prepared, the menu that you prepared for us. Take us away.
Yes.
All right. So, Mami, the floor is yours. You have your
Yeah, Sarah. I am trying to.
okay.
Okay, Sarah, do you see my slides?
Not yet. It
All
should be
right.
coming up any moment. You're freezing a little bit. I think the connection is.
Must be then.
Mhm. And as you try to get that sorted out, Rosalind, thank you so much for congratulating CTL Africa on its 250th episode. I can't believe
Yeah.
we're here for over years now. Yeah. Oh,
Amazing work. Amazing work. Amazing work. Sarah, please let me know once you can see the slides.
okay. Let's see whether it's working this time around. There we go.
Awesome. Yay. We alive. So, good evening, good afternoon, and even morning if you're watching from somewhere very far off from our continent. I'm so excited to be here talking about one of my very passionate conversations that I have with teams, both in corporate and not corporate spaces. Um, I will, I would like you to picture this if you're on this call. So there's a case we are looking at, right? And the case is about a missing good morning. So if you know some part of Accra, just imagine anywhere in Accra, East Legon, airport, residential, cantonment, any of the plush areas in Accra, where we have a very thriving law firm, right? And the managing director, who happens to be a boomer. I don't want to say it too loud because I've got boomers hosting me this evening. Who happens to be a boomer, arrives at 8:30 on the dot. And this man, let's just call him Mr. Sam. All apologies to Uncle Sam. Let's call him Mr. Sam, right? He arrives at 8:30 a.m. He's a man of protocol. I mean, as a boomer, he's seen life. He has been through proper cadet processes. So he's a man of real protocol. And when I say protocol, the British kind of protocol. So he arrives and walks through the open plan office. Nowadays, people sit in the open offices. So he walks through it. Now, in that open office, right in the corner, is a Gen Z intern. I mean, this guy just came from the university to spend some 3 months with the firm so he can support in their tech department. Now, let's call this young man Kofi, right? and Kofi has his, the huge noise canceling headphones on, and he has 3 monitors. He just has these monitors and he's typing away and trying to code, whether he's designing or he's coding. He's just working busily. And the managing director is walking through. Now, this is where the conflict begins. As the MD is walking past, the tradition in the firm is people look up and they actually stand up and they greet him, or they just look up from their desks and they greet him. Good morning, Mr. Sam, you're welcome, you're welcome. Everybody says you're welcome to him. Now, Mr. Gen Z is in the corner. He's got his headset on, very oblivious of what is happening in his space. He says nothing, he doesn't turn, he's just busily typing away. So Mr. Sam obviously is looking on and is wondering, this boy has no home training. I mean, how dare he disrespect me like this? And for him, it's so disrespectful for a young intern. He's not even an employee yet, to be in that space and not get up or look up from his screen to say good morning to him. So he walks into his office thinking, this young man will not last in this firm. I'm not going to allow this misbehavior to thrive here. Meanwhile, the young man is so excited at whatever it is he's doing. Now, guess what? He has just found a way to automate a data entry task that his colleagues in the firm take 3 days to do. So they do some data entry from whatever cases they have in their ERP, which is an enterprise program that they use. And sometimes people take 3 days to make these inputs before they're ready for analysis. Now, Kofi just cracked a code that will allow this work to be done in 3 hours. So you can imagine how very proud he's feeling of himself. He has no clue what's happening in his environment. Now, he is also thinking, I am definitely going to get the Employee of the Month award. I mean, I am saving the MD of this firm so much money. Now, this same MD is walking thinking, Kofi will not last in this firm because he's so disrespectful. Now it's 10 a.m. All this has happened around 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's 10 a.m. The MD is now ready to walk back into the open office and ask that they relieve Kofi to go ahead of his end of internship for character issues. In his mind, Kofi does not have the character required to work and thrive in the law firm that he has taken years with his partners to build. And now for Kofi, he's sitting, bubbling with excitement, thinking, I'm going to have to sit with the MD this afternoon during lunch, and I'm definitely going to be asking him for a promotion from my internship to an automatic joining of the firm after school due to high performance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, both of the individuals are right and both are wrong. You see, when we live in an era where people look at the same issue differently, we have on our hands what we call intergenerational conversations. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. And I want to assure you that we are currently working in a workplace, or we have workplaces where a person is waiting to be greeted and another is busy with finding solutions to a problem he thinks should not exist. And this is the reality of our workplace. Now, the solution, you're welcome to this evening's session. We are going to bridge the gap between these two seemingly very different and very oblivious of each other's worlds generations and see how we will be able to work together. My name is the Maame Gaisey. I call myself the people enabler because I enjoy enabling people to be the best versions of themselves. And I work with a firm called 565. At 565, we do four main things. We're interested in enabling the people and organizational spaces of our business clients. We work a lot around leadership development. We do some tech enablement work, and we also run conferences and training programs. Now, join me to understand the context of our conversation this evening is that for the very first time, the workplace is sitting with four and maybe five generations all working side by side. Why do we still have the boomers? We do because even though some of them have turned 60, they still have the energy, they still have good health, and some of them are actually running their own businesses, which means as founders or CEOs, they have not yet retired. So we call them the boomers, but they are the actual exiting generation of our workplaces. Then we have the Gen Xers. These are the generation that came after the boomers. We have the millennials. The millennials are typically in their 40s and 30s now. And we have the Gen Zs. Immediately, the conversations about intergenerational workplaces come up. Everybody talks about Gen Zs. And for your information, they're my favorite generation at the moment. Now, maybe at the end, they might be toppled by Gen Alphas. But I say Gen Zs are my favorite because not too long ago, the millennials were the topic in every conversation where people thought that they were not serious. Now, the conversation has shifted to Gen Zs, and a lot of them are thinking the old folks are too old to understand them. The workplace makes us looking like this. We have the traditional boomer, okay? So let's just call them in our parlance the opening. So these people are the ones that would work tirelessly with one employer, and they are looking as they are clocking their 10th year, their 15th year, their 20th year, their 25th, they're looking to rise up the rank. They work, they put in the hours, and are hoping that the employers are going to reward them with some promotions, some salary increments, and they definitely are the ones that will be in the workplaces and will take offense if you do not call them auntie, uncle, Mr., Mrs., or madam, or sir. Save the ones that have worked in some multinationals where first names are the culture. A lot of them in our space, especially the African space, would prefer that the younger generations call their names with a certain title. And woe betide you if this person is a professor or a doctor and you do not put the title ahead of their names, you could get into trouble. I remember walking into an employment space. I was consulting for a firm where I was setting up the HR. And as the function was growing, I started meeting different consultants. Now, one of my favorite was this man. He was an older man who was very instrumental to the work I was doing. So I sat with him for a while. And as I sat with him having conversations, I kept seeing everybody come in and call him Mr. with his name. Let's just call him Mr. Z. Mr. Z. Everybody called him Mr. Z. And I'm struggling because I've come from a space where the oldest people in that company were responding to first names. Nobody ever called anybody Mr., Mrs., Doctor, anything. So I'm struggling because I'm really struggling to add the Mr. to his name. So I decided to just break my stress and ask him, Mr. Z, would you be comfortable if I called you with your first name? I didn't have to end the sentence. He said, no, you're not allowed to. You have to call me Mr. Z. And it was such a culture shock for me. But it told me that we needed a certain alignment because work was going on well. The relationship was great. But I only realized if I hadn't been smart or wise enough to ask the question and took the liberty based on my background to just call him his first name, I'd have got into trouble. And he would have had issues with me, not because he didn't trust my competence, not because he didn't like me, but because he would think of me as a disrespectful young lady. So the boomers are giving way to the Gen Xs, and a lot of the Gen Xs themselves are beginning to look like the boomers. Now, the millennials are the ones in the workplace who are asking, so why haven't we fixed the gutter in front of our office? They are the ones that are looking at, okay, I respect you, but I'm going to give you the real respect when I see that as the CFO, as the CHRO, as the CEO, as the CMO, as a CTO, you really know your stuff. So millennials are the ones that are looking at, okay, what you bring to the table? Why am I even giving you all of this glory? So they are the ones in the workplace that are looking for purpose. They are the ones that are currently, and for some of them, they have been for a while, been in the C-suite. And their question is, why do we exist? Why are we doing the things we're doing? They want to understand the why. They themselves are now taking on appointments in workplaces which values align with theirs. Then we have the old favorite Gen Zs. They are the side hustle kings and queens. Please, if you have them in your office and you're thinking for the 8 hours they are sitting behind your computer, they are working for you, you are in for a loss. They're not. They love the side hustle because it makes them feel useful. Some of them do it not just because they want the money. For some of them, they're just doing these things that are for free. They are interested in impact, social impact stuff. They want to be seen. They want to be part of conversations. So whilst the millennials are looking at what do we do to impact, how do we get this across? How do we make sure the bottom line is consistent? They are doing the things. I mean, the Gen Zs, they are doing the things because there will be a video on social media and they want to be part of it. They want their brand to be mentioned. So don't be offended as a business owner that you see your Gen Z employee has a viable following online that may actually be more than yours. So we are looking at this workplace mix and you're wondering, Mami, how do we even go about it? This snapshot might look a bit crumbed, but I need you to position yourself to listen to me on this. Look, the boomers are working in a certain context. The Gen Xs have a certain context. The millennials have a certain context. They each have a perspective, and all of them bring into the workplace a certain context that if you understand as a business owner or a leader, it helps you to manage them. Because believe you me, when you have all these people on your team, say your secretary is a Gen X and your marketing person is a millennial. Now you have a tech person or your social media or your comms lead being a Gen Z. When you go for a meeting and you're not careful, you will think there's a fight. Everybody's talking about the same thing because they all want the prospect of the business to grow, but they are speaking from different contexts and they are speaking from different perspectives. So let's look at the context. I mean, I've named them these aliases so that it's easier for us to have fun as we refer to them. So the boomers and the seniors, I'm going to call them the opening, and our Gen Xs are actually the parents of the Gen Zs. So they're the bridge between the old school and the new schools, because when they go home, they are parents. And when they go to work, they are the ones that are so up to their neck about the Gen Zs. Now, the millennials, I'll call them the change agents because they are the ones that are looking at how do we do this to make it look different? How do we sell differently? How do we have these meetings differently? How do we engage our stakeholders differently? Then our Gen Zs, they are the disruptors. People call them the Indomie generation. Some people call them, oh, the party generation. Some people call them the unserious generation. They have a lot of aliases, but for the purpose of this evening's conversation, we will call them the disruptors. Right. Now, we are moving from a workplace where all the focus was on seniority to where now employers and businesses are looking for performance-based culture. So sometimes it becomes very difficult to define what that performance is. Because to the Gen Z, so long as I've moved or grown our following on YouTube, our subscribers on YouTube from say 5,000 to 50,000, I've done the work. Give me all the money that you have to give me. Now the millennial is asking the question, when you grew that following, what money did it bring to the business? So it's a very interesting conversations we have. Now, the reality though is that if you're not careful and you come to the workplace with all this judgment, I'm working with a bank, for instance, and one of the conversations we have as part of the culture is the Gen Zs feel it's a bit too uptight to require them to be in suit and skirts and trousers and shirts and ties. Why can't they just come to work in jeans, especially if they are not customer facing? And the millennials are like, pardon? As for the Gen Xs, they can't even hear this. Why are you asking as a banker to come to work on a Tuesday in jeans and a polo shirt? But according to the Gen Z, how does that affect me studying the risk of a client? It doesn't. I can still determine the viability of a business in jeans and polo shirt. I don't have to be in a suit. So for me, the goal for any leader, business leader, team leader, business founder, is to have a blend where you are stabilizing these conversations, not oblivious of the wisdom that the boomers and the Gen Xs bring to the workplace, the change that the millennials are looking to bring to the workplace, and the excitement and the real vibe that the Gen Zs bring. We need to move from thinking one is better than the other into thinking, how do these same conversations happening in different languages with different slangs deliver the business result, make sure that the workplace culture is not toxic, and that everybody who has a voice around the table is not only speaking, but is heard, and their views are taken and feedback is properly given about why their views may not work in this particular context. So the goal for me, as you're listening and going along with us this evening, is to blend the wisdom from our seniors and the speed from the genius, because both are needed. If you're working in any business sector now, and you think that you have to play wise at the expense of speed, everybody will leave you. So it's that nimbleness to pick the wisdom, the stability from the seniors, and move that into the speed that the genius or the new generations are bringing. That will give us the result. Now, there are a few myths and there are realities that border on the various generations. Some people think that the young generation are disrespectful. Let's just say that they want to be told things directly and they want to say things directly. Sometimes it comes as a shock because a lot of the senior generations were not brought up to be that open. You couldn't just open your mouth and speak in a certain meeting depending on where you sat. Now, the younger generation also thinks that the older leaders are stubborn. They don't hear. And they say that at home. My mom can't hear me. She's not listening. That doesn't even get it. You know, when they say you don't get it, it means that you've lost them. Mommy, they don't get me. Like they don't get it. My mom doesn't get it. Dad doesn't get it. That's the language they speak. But what they don't know is that these older generations are also concerned about the speed and are looking for some level of stability that will either hone in the sanity of the home or the institutional memory of the organization. A lot of people I talk to, and even this week, I've had different conversations. We are looking to hire, and everybody's like, these Gen Zs, they are so lazy. They don't want to work. And if you look at the way they work now, really, it looks like they don't want to work. Because some people are coming to work, you're telling the person work starts at 8:30, and they want to be there at 9. And their point is, can I finish my work in 3 hours? Yes. So why do I have to be here at 8? They want to work smarter, They want to sit in the church or in the Uber and start working. And they don't want to sit in the office for long. I've had conversations with managers that have their hairs on end because they're looking to offer some sort of loans to junior colleagues to buy themselves cars. Junior colleagues are not interested in buying smaller cars. They want the kind of cars that will offer them everything that they need in a modern car. And if you're not careful, you think they don't appreciate it. It's just what they need, what they feel is their reality, and what the older generation feels is sensible. So when these conversations are happening and you're not careful, you'll be sworn into a sudden quarter. A certain generation might make sense to you depending on your own prejudices. And as a business leader, as a team leader, you need to be aware that everybody has a voice and all of them have a say. And all of them may be right and all of them may be wrong. Now, let's look at this incident where a junior developer was given an opportunity to be in a board meeting. Now, what happens? The senior is doing a presentation to the board, and the young person just interrupts and says something about the fact that we are not exactly what we are supposed to be. You can imagine, for a senior person, this conversation cannot happen in the board meeting. It should have happened in the office. You need to draw me aside and whisper to me, send me a message on the side. For the junior generation, they don't, this is the board of our company. If there's anything, it should be fine for them to know. And when they say, but what's wrong with this? That's when the older generation actually begin to get worked up. But for me, the leader must know that redefining respect is what we need here. So it's not so much about how long this person has been here, how old they are, whether they have the title and the place to call you out, but whether what they're saying does make sense, so that we can actually groom them to presenting their opinions a lot better than to insist on their shushing because one, they've not worked long enough, two, they don't have the age number required to speak up, and three, they don't have the title. So when we focus all the attention on respect without understanding the substance they are trying to bring to the table, we miss the conversation and we begin to create a friction because they don't hear the older generation does not hear them. And it's all because we are looking at the same thing from a different side of the glass. So it's a 6 or a 9. One person is at the top or the head, the other is at the tail. Are you looking at a 6 or a 9? And that brings me to the major conundrum in the generational conversation. We are looking at communication. Some leaders are working with different generations and they haven't bothered to learn their language. If you're sudden as a leader of Gen Zs or a parent of alphas and you're not bothering to understand what their language means, you are lost before you started. So, for instance, for senior people, for a lot of senior colleagues, WhatsApp should be for like a quick conversation on the side, but anything official has to be a proper letter, a memo addressed properly to the right recipient. And for the junior people, I mean, I remember one of my team members closing from work. I hadn't been to the office for 2 days because I was a client, and she just closed from work around 7:30. I saw her busily typing, sending me loads of WhatsApp. In between, she's sending me voice notes. I'm like, what exactly is happening? When I went, she's giving me full updates of what they had done, the concerns they had, what they had, decisions they had taken. This is me sitting and I'm rolling my eyes and I'm like, why am I reading this on WhatsApp? Why am I not seeing an email? But the key strategy for me is to find a middle ground and let each party understand that these are the ways we are going to work. So for company A, if the agreement is that anything official has to come through emails, let's make that clear Don't hold people accountable or pull them into disciplinary hearing when they have no clue what they were supposed to do. This team member had no formal communication to her that everything work-related, that is more than a quick information, should go through email. So I had to deliberately and intentionally inform her for her to be aware. In a lot of workplaces, we don't do that. We only come to the workplace expecting people to figure it out. Yeah, well, but they finished university. Duh. In the university now, as opposed to what you had, they have access to cell phones. As the lecturer is going on with examples, they're putting it in AI. As the lecturer is busily giving examples or principles or theories, they are finding counter argument. They are on their phones. They are probably posting what they are writing on their snaps. You didn't have access to that. So to think that they will think and work and behave the same way as you is in itself the concern. And for the genius, for them to assume that the older generation would understand everything they do and say, in itself is a concern. So for me, where we start to manage this conundrum is when we have clear communication about what we do in this office. So for instance, in a traditional way, the seniors would typically be the ones teaching the juniors. But in modern days, I should be able to walk to my intern and ask, how do you do this? I've been struggling with a few things and I've been calling younger people. I don't call my colleagues, I don't call senior people, because I know that this is their thing. They would understand it, they would know how. If you're not asking AI, go ask them, because the people are just sitting there. They sit on social media all day. They can figure out how to do stuff. I have some genius who come into the office when they ask me stuff and I'm so busy, I'm more comfortable to tell them, you know what, this is how you're going to do it. Check it out on YouTube. Come back to me. If you still don't understand anything, we will work our way through it. I mean, you didn't have that 10, 15 years ago. If you didn't know anything, somebody had to pull you and show you on paper. Somebody had to show you what they had to do on their computers. Now we have access to multiple ways of learning, multiple ways of working. How do we bring that together? So for me, it's about how we are given, how they are given, and how all of us are driving towards the goals of the organization. Now, a few things. For instance, if you're an SME, you're asking, Mommy, all these things you're talking about might situate well in a big corporate. No, it works in small to medium to tiny enterprises as well, even a one-man business. Look, in sales, in the past, we will have sales meeting every morning. We will look in the numbers. We will look at who is doing what, which team member is pulling the numbers, who is the drain. You can still do that, even though you have a lot of Gen Zs and maybe alphas in your team. You can still have a board where we are looking at the numbers, because maybe you cannot afford an Asana or a Trello. We can still have a board or a printout with the projects. Timelines are timelines, whether you're doing it on your phone or you're doing it on paper. Timelines are timelines. Deadlines are deadlines. Clients' desires or quality indicators are the same. So a lot of the things by themselves substantively have not changed. It's the how you're doing them and the media through which we are doing them. Now, if you have a team of different generations, even the millennials are Japan. People are leaving the shores, especially from Africa to elsewhere. Some are also intra-Africa Japan. Now, when you have different team members, especially in a Ghanaian space where people are looking for opportunities abroad, they go through schooling, they go through relatives, whatever it is. Your question is, how do I keep them? You can't have the same conversation about keeping your talent with Gen Z as you would a millennial. No. For a lot of them, the living is not so much about the salary. I've heard younger generations ask to leave Ghana just to go and see whether countries are governed the way we have ours. I've heard younger generations wonder, do people keep their environment and their sanitation the way we do in Accra, the way we do in Lagos? So as opposed to in the past where it was affordability and ability to care for our families and the children's school fees and all of that. The newer generations are looking at what's happening out there. What's different from what we have? How can I make an impact there? How do I build a skill that can make me be able to work in Switzerland or even in France without being able to speak French? So we need to have these conversations, not just even for the day-to-day delivery of the tasks, but also for sustainability and for our ability to retain some level of talent. So when I'm bringing on people now, I tell them we are a growing enterprise. I would love for us to build a certain culture. Otherwise, I don't have any business asking Gen Zs to come to work Monday to Fridays because they drain. They actually do not give you the most when you insist they come and sit Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. You don't get the most out of them. What you want is to build a back end and invest in some tech that would allow them to deliver, whether they are there or not, and have consequences. Because believe you me, I've had some of them when they've had the opportunity to stay at home and work from home, they never delivered a thing. They didn't. And it was so stressful, at some point you need to let them go. So you need to build a certain culture, support the business in ways that will allow them. And don't insist for a Gen X to work from home, because for them, the leaving home is part of the fulfillment. The coming to be with colleagues is part of the delivery. Seeing other people is part of their social upbringing, and it's part of the relief they get from whatever struggles they have. For the Gen Z, it's the opposite. So when you have these different generations in your workplace, A, communication, B, the way they work, and C, the reason for doing what they're doing should matter in every conversation you have, whether you're a team leader or a business owner. So now for a manager looking for a toolkit to sort of bring all of these different generations together, I'll say, build a protocol first. What is our communication rule as a team? For you, you might say that anything more than 2 minutes, call. Don't do a voice note, don't send a text, because that text would go into another text, anything requiring either a legal, statutory, or a financial backing, send an email so we can build a trail. I do that a lot. I tell them that certain things I'm asking for it to be in emails because of audit. So you need to define these. Now, when it comes to feedback, question is, are you giving everybody the same feedback? Then it's not working. If a generation prefers to be told, well done, thumbs up, hey, that was a good one, I loved the way you did that, it doesn't mean that the older generation wants that. Because the other generation will just ask the manager to, can you say that again, and pick a phone and quickly start recording you, put that on their snap. Oh my God, when your boss loves your work, POV, when your boss loves your work, the other person wants it in their review on the file so they can use it for a salary raise conversation. So feedback goes differently. So when you are sitting all of them together, what you're looking to do is to create an environment where nobody is judging the other as better or worse, where all of us are learning as a team that when we are in this team, so we are restricting this a lot more to the workplace, right? When we are together as a team, this is how we are going to roll. This is how we communicate. This is how we refer to each other. These are the ways we will communicate officially, unofficially, give feedback, and work. You have to define that. Otherwise, you're going to have everybody looking to you to resolve a conflict after another conflict after another conflict. Now, when it comes to social media, for instance, a lot of people think that everybody should have a Facebook account. I can assure you, if I see a Gen Z with a Facebook account, I'm like, they might have to do this because of work or business, and they know that their business audience is on Facebook because they don't sit there. I know a lot of Gen Zs that don't have WhatsApp accounts. They're doing Telegram, they're doing Snap, they don't care. And once I asked, why do you like Snapchat that much? They told me it doesn't keep anything. The thing comes and goes and it's fine because they are very fleeting. For them, why should I keep, I don't want to be on Facebook because mom and dad are there. Aunt, everybody else is there. My teachers are there. They don't want it. So don't force them to be there. No matter how good the learning is there, they don't want to be there. So when you go on Facebook, you're likely to find our boomers and Gen X. On WhatsApp, pretty much everybody, because we have WhatsApp groups. And when you go on Snapchat and TikTok, you're definitely finding the Gen Zs, and now grandmas are there. The boomers are doing crazy TikTok videos. So we're talking about the generalities, but it's not exclusive, because I don't mind being on TikTok. I don't mind being on Snap because I want to know what my children, my employees are experiencing. You need to understand what they experience and to be able to make a call so that you're not judgmental unduly. One of the things that keeps coming up whenever we're talking about multi-generational workplaces is how people mix millennials and Gen Zs, because they are pretty much in the youth. They are all active. They are very vocal. A lot of them are on social media. So people actually think Gen Zs just burn directly into millennials. And some parents have Gen Zs and millennials in the house, and sometimes they are wondering, and they begin to compare. Why can't you be like your big sister? No, they can't be, because they're Gen Zs, and she can't also be that flexible like your baby last because she's a millennial. So we're looking at millennials versus Gen Zs, and how you spot the difference is how they're working, their work ethics, their work styling, what drives them. Some of them are purpose driven. Some of them are just, what's going, what's the latest, what's trending. That's what's driving them. And for a lot of them, tech is the way to figure out who is the millennial and who is the Gen Z. And if you look at the Gen Zs, I'm telling you, they are the digital natives. They didn't have to go. Look, a lot of the older generations make me laugh because they are talking and asking questions, and I'm asking them, were you born when the internet existed? I remember seeing a meme that made me laugh. It says, somebody had a beer and said, if you want to advise me and your birth year starts with a 2, stop in your tracks. I was laughing. It's almost as though they can never have any wisdom, but that's not it. It's just to say that they are a completely different generation. They have siblings, they have colleagues that are in different generations or older generations, but it doesn't mean they are like us. They can't be, so let them be. Now let's look at this case study. Okay, let's get practical. Say a millennial manager, because most of them are the current managers, calls a Gen Z team member and gives them a task and says, go ahead and create, gives them the creative freedom to go and create stuff. The Gen Z team member feels very stressed and is wondering, after 6 hours, you come back, what have you been able to do? They say, not much. Because the truth is that they want you to give them a certain basis to build on. They need that. So what you need to do, if you're a millennial team leader working with Gen Z team members and you're thinking, but they can't think. They've got brains. It's just the how and what they need to spark them. When you're giving a Gen Z that kind of open freedom, give them a certain roadmap before they bring you something completely out of what you're looking for. So one of the things you could say is, whatever you do, make sure that this has this color, it is speaking to this kind of market, and it does not go beyond 2 pages. That's it. Or it is more than 2 paragraphs. Give them something more like containers they can work within. You will assume as a millennial that once you've been given that freedom by a Gen X or a boomer, you can know, okay, we are a manufacturing company, we're a bank, we're a financial institution. I need to work on this with SEC in mind, with legal. No, You need to create some containers for this generation so they are able to work and deliver that creativity, because they have it. Believe you me, they have it. So they can deliver that creativity that you're looking for. Now, my favorite. So the Gen X's parenting Gen Zs, they go to the workplace. When I'm running this training in workplace and they start complaining, I'm laughing. I'm like, your kids, they are your children. They are your children. Why are you complaining about them? Because we deal with them at home, and when we can't, we assume that when they go to the workplace, somebody else who is a magician, a manager, should be able to deal with them. Then we are faced with other Gen Zs coming from other homes, and we figure that, oh my God, okay, I don't have an island problem. Now, if you thought the Gen Zs were an item, wait till you hear about the alpha. So these people have started getting into the workplace. Now, Gen Alphas were born between the 2010 and 2014, right? So they're beginning to start, especially for those in international schools, they're doing internships already, because some of them by this age are in sixth form. Some of them have taken year break from school to figure out what programs they want to do in university. So they're already entering the workplace somewhat. And for them, they were born into a space where it's AI before any other conversation. I remember when my son was about 2 to 3 years, and he would join me in the kitchen and I'm busy with dishes and things. And he would just look around, and the first thing he would let in his toddler thoughts is, Mama, when I grow up, I will make a robot that will do all your dishes for you. He sees me cooking. Mama, I'll develop a robot that will cook for you. Mom, for him, everything was possible by a robot. So they are AI first. So you're thinking Gen Zs are social media first. These people are AI first. They actually don't just prefer video. Remember, you were giving them the phone so you can have your peace of mind. Remember, you were putting on the TV so they could learn the alphabets or the letters of the alphabet. They are video and stressed with text. Too much text stresses them. They're learning with video in school. They are watching a lot of it at home. So their mental faculty figures that things can be motion, can be fixed immediately before you would think text. So for them, I have the digital reality describing them, because they don't know what is online and offline. No, for them, life is what it is. This conversation for them is as real as we would have if I met you in a training room. So that's for alphas. And how you see alphas are AI native, and they, for the first 3 seconds of this session, if they don't have a hook, they might find it not useful. They don't have anything like Ghana, Nigeria, United Kingdom. No, for them, everything is one. They have the possibility and they can do everything. Now, when you are looking to we're running a bit. When we are looking to put all of our generations together, we want you to know that as our boomers and Gen Zs are wisdom house, the millennials are big on strategy, the Gen Zs are the speedsters, and the Gen Alphas, they're the future that we are looking at today. So for a manager that has all 4 of them, or maybe the 5th generation in the workplace, just imagine the team as a Ghanaian chieftaincy. Your boomers and the X's are like the core of the chieftaincy. The Gen Zs are the youth, and the Alphas, they are the ones that are already videoing, showing the whole world what happens in the palace, even if it's supposed to be a secret. So for me, the lesson is you need the wisdom and the stability, but you also need the speed. So there's nothing like better than If you're watching the old school, the best, or what we call the good old days, you will see that in the 50s and the 60s, people were still shaving their hair. People were piercing. People were doing tattoos. And we see them today and we think that it's the worst thing that has ever happened. It's only because it's been amplified with social media. So my question to you as we're ending this is, since we have Gen Alphas and they are so influenced by global internet culture, do you actually see that your teams are borderless, or do you find that there are boundaries in your teams based on the generations that you have? That's the question I want to leave with you. So as you go into the week, managing your team, check the biases you have based on your generation. Look to create some level of safety in your team spaces and celebrate the diversity, because that's what is going to give you the results that you're looking for as a team leader or as a business leader. We are ready to answer questions, people. Thank you very much. Sarah?
Yes, that was amazing and mind-blowing. And I just like the comment from Mrs. Engman saying, imagining your business as a Ghanaian chieftaincy is clever, almost clever. That is really great. Mami, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, let's see what people are saying in the comments. The family business coach, that is my Catherine, says this is a very insightful session. She never considered the idea of redefining respect. And I guess she is um, highest commenting, highest person who is running the commentary. Says, very insightful, Mami. Very thank you. And James Mills says, wonderful presentation. Frida says, insightful session. Thanks, Mami. I don't see any questions, but this is mind blowing. I think I'll bring Uncle Sam on. Uncle Sam, who is the how do you the
Uncle
boomer.
Sam, who
Uncle
is the
Sam the boomer. Yeah,
MD of
the
the
MD,
law
MD the
firm
boomer. The boomer.
with the
What,
protocols.
what says that? What says
No,
that, boomer?
no, I'm Alpha. I'm Alpha. Thank you so very much, Mommy. This is so amazing, so great, so wonderful. I was just here absorbing everything inside. So thank you so very much. Well. Are there no questions?
No questions, just lots of comments saying this has been very insightful and lots of food for thought.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mommy, let me ask this question.
Yeah.
I mean, all these generations are around there, and
Yes.
we talk mentorship and so on. How
Yes.
can leaders leverage mentoring across the generations? Because obviously, the different generations are going to look at mentoring differently. And as a leader of
Yeah.
the team, how do you leverage mentoring across so that every generation feels included?
Wonderful. Thank you. One of the things that I have figured is the how.
Mm-hmm,
I'm sure you and Sarah and Kathleen, myself, James, all those people would love like a sit down session, a proper
mm-hmm,
curated period where you listen to, you're looking.
mm-hmm,
Some of the generations I've seen that is the drive talk that worked. For
mm-hmm,
some of them, it's just standing around the island in the kitchen that helped.
mm-hmm,
In some instances, I've seen team members make the most out of these sessions when they ask for it. We might
mm-hmm,
think they need it and we want to dish it, very parental in its own outlook. So for some of my team members, I've told them I'm open if you want coaching, call me, book me, and I'll be available. And when they have that opening and they come themselves, they actually come with concerns that you wouldn't assume they would have. And when these concerns are addressed, they actually work a lot better. So it's the how. For some,
Yeah.
you may have to take a trip to do quad biking for them to open up, for you to see their stress points. It's different things for different people, even within the same generation. I can assure you, within the same generation, people respond differently to different ways. I mean, even with Gen Xers, some people would prefer open commentary about how great they are. Some would prefer behind the door. So you need to know the team member. You need to know what works and bring it to the fore. It's not easy for leaders, because that's meaning that you are switching yourself in between different capabilities, and that's not a joke.
Yeah.
And more than ever, and especially for all of you in this space, more than ever, leadership is being called to be a lot of different things. So if you're not grounded on some basic values, it can be very difficult. It can be very
Yeah.
difficult, because let me share again that I've met Gen Zs that are very grounded, even better than millennials. So these are generalizations that are not the rule for everybody. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Now that's interesting. The other thing that I learned was what they call reverse mentoring. You see, because
Yes.
sometimes we are thinking of mentorship as the traditionally,
Yeah.
we think that, well, the boomers who are the seniors, they are supposed to be the one mentoring. But what we are hearing today also means that there is a need for reverse mentoring. In other
Yeah.
words, the boomers and the millennials have to make themselves amenable for the Gen X and Alphas to also mentor them and to help them understand their world,
Yeah.
how they get things done. So that's
Yes.
one of the this thing, because whilst the older, like you said, the older people will come with the wisdom and experience, these people are coming with agility, with tech, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So in this context, it is important that there's mutual respect and exchange of knowledge, because
Mm-hmm.
the Gen Zs and the Alphas, they know things we don't know.
Yes.
With the boomers and the millennials, we know things we don't know. So mentoring should our definition of mentoring should also change. And you mentioned
Change.
it also, our definition of leadership should change, because there are
Yes.
areas that the Gen Zs and the Ys can lead better than us.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
stay back and lead them to lead in those areas. Don't,
Yeah.
like John Maxwell will say, you can't lead in all areas.
In all
Define the
areas.
areas where you can lead and let them lead in the other areas. So thank you so very much for that.
Thank you.
Now, the
Thank
other
you.
area that is also very problematic is trust
Yeah.
between the generations. I
Yeah.
mean, my children, they will say, they are going to give us lectures again, you know, and you are giving the lectures and they have tuned off and they are going because. And so, what strategy can help build trust, among these groups? Because
Oh my goodness. I
and it's
like that.
lectures,
You you
yeah.
you'll be amazed, you'll be amazed, Sam, to know that a lot of the trust as well comes from not just the trust the way we understand it traditionally, but trust of competence. When
Mm-hmm.
your children understand that, or they know, they can trust that you know what they know, you get it.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
phrase is a lot of things for them. When
Yeah.
they figure that you get it,
Yeah.
there's very little hiding that would happen. And
Mm.
they won't call these as lectures. They will see it as, Charlie, come, let's chat.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, look, I'm telling you as a parent, Charlie, what's up? At a certain age, at a certain age, it should be Charlie, what's up? You know, at a certain age, it should be Charlie, you do well. Oh. So Charlie, the heartbreak, how far? Let
Yeah.
them feel okay, yeah, you did it. And this holier than thou, like you never broke a grade, you were never silly, you no, it doesn't work because they know it. They know
Yeah.
they are, and now they're watching videos of we telling our stories. So they're watching your age mate telling stories. So they know you, if you were born around that age, then massa, what's up?
Yes. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. So
Mm-hmm.
when we bring down the conversation, even at the workplace, the
Mm-hmm.
managers that I really, and I remember those days, I had a marketing director. Friday morning, it didn't matter, intern, national service, whichever department, he would just buy the wache. Chris will buy the wache, open it on the table, nobody sits, everybody is standing, fingers in the leaf, will lay
Yes.
egg,
I,
fish,
I used to
everything,
do that with my team when I was in corporate.
you know.
Yeah.
So some of these things then break the bridges, the boundaries, and it helps. It helps.
Yeah.
So you need to know the children, and you need to know the team members and figure out, do they really, sometimes Charlie, we advise you when we shouldn't. So
Yeah.
it won't go
Yeah.
anywhere. Mm.
And the other element is also a consistency. Sometimes these generations are looking at us, and we have told them like they see our political leaders, for example, stand on
Yes.
the platform and talk corruption, and they're going to fight corruption, and now they see them trying to bring down the special prosecutor. The inconsistency in our language and our behavior
Yeah.
also does not foster trust. So for
Yeah.
them, they want to see consistency because it's like
Yes.
the way the computer works. I mean, if you click X on the keyboard, it is X that will
It
come.
will produce an X.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So
Yeah.
why are you guys say this and you are behaving this way? Totally, they are gone. All right. So that's also one of the things, and also respecting their contributions.
Yeah.
If we don't respect their contributions, like the story you told, this guy has sat down and he's solved the problem, the 3-day
That's
problem in
it.
3 hours.
Yeah.
And now you come and you say it's just because he didn't greet you or he didn't cut his hair. I mean, you won't appreciate his what he has
Work
done.
he has done. Yeah.
That doesn't work. And
Yeah.
like we also said this, you talk about transparency. I mean, for them, this is an open world. There's
Yeah.
nothing hiding. And
Yeah.
today we are there, and these seniors are hiding salary scales, and they are saying, "Ah, no, no, this is confidential. Nobody." But what is confidential? The salaries of the president of the United States is open.
Online.
They know the salaries of all the CEOs in Wall Street. So
Yeah.
why is it that in a small Ghanaian company the salaries are confidential? What
Yeah.
is confidential about
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
things also
Mhm.
don't help. And Sarah, I don't know if you wanted to ask some questions.
Yeah, there are a few questions in the comments over here, and I'd like Mommy to address them. Uh,
Wonderful.
yeah. Catherine is saying she needs therapy. So her question is, do you
Oh
you
boy.
provide coaching to leaders to help us navigate these generational
Yeah.
differences? I believe you have answered that. And then Rosalind says, it's a bit straightforward. If you are a leader and you are a boomer or Gen X, what if you are a leader and a Gen Y and your team members stretch from boomers to Generation
Hmm.
Z? What
That's
should we?
another dynamic.
Yeah, that's
That's
another.
no that but that's actually the more prominent view in corporate now. When I go around and run these sessions, we have a lot of millennials in the C-suite, navigating between board and founders and seniors who didn't make it to the C-suite and everybody in between.
Mm-hmm.
Incidentally, I also read an article that said that the millennial generation is actually the most burdened generation. You know, it's almost as though everybody's looking at them to be the turnaround because they are almost like the last sane generation. So it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
for them. Now, when you are a millennial and you have team members that are stretching from Gen X all the way to alphas, you are not going to have to do anything different from what we've discussed here.
Mhm.
Understand that the Gen X may have started work before you. You just happen to have had an accelerated career and you are ahead of the person, either by dint of hard work or smartness or whatever. It does not mean that whatever experience or wisdom they have, as we call it, so that wisdom does not count. It doesn't
Yeah.
also mean that you overstretch yourself to suit them if it does not suit the business or the team. So you need to be extra aware of the team dynamics and what needs to be done. There are times I've said to people that what you need is not so much these strategies we are sharing, but wisdom. Wisdom to know when to speak, how to speak, and to who at what time. That's all you need. Because it's this body language you gave when the Gen X says something that sounded so archaic that brings down the trust.
Mm-hmm.
Or is the smirk that you give when the Gen Z made a suggestion that sounded like you're not serious?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's those things that it's not so much because you said, oh hell no. It's actually the body language. So it's the wisdom to actually listen. And you know, this year I've been working on focus and presence, just listening and not processing your response, but just listen to understand before you think of. And sometimes I've sat in team and Catherine is great at that. She'll listen to you and pause almost as though she didn't hear you. Then a few seconds later, she'll ask a question and you will actually figure that you have the answer. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
work we are supposed to do as coaches, right? So it's also the ability to apply wisdom. Yeah.
Okay, so Mami, what
Right.
I'm hearing you say is communication, both verbal and body language wise, is very, very key over here.
Yes.
And
Yes.
listening actively and deeply.
Yes.
Yeah. And as you speak, what is coming to me is that leadership, whether you are a boomer, Gen Z, or alpha, is that you've got to be adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Adaptable
Yes.
leadership, that's what you're talking about. Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one question here from the audience, from James, who says,
Yes.
how do you manage or develop incentives for employees across multiple generations to motivate them to work?
Mm.
One of my favorites, about 15 years ago, I think, Sarah, I was sitting in a team in my as an employee, and you know, we're talking about talent and everything. And I was wondering, I had a letter that said I had access to medical care for myself, a spouse, and four children. I didn't even have a boyfriend. It didn't speak to me. I mean,
Well,
it was
well,
it was it
that
was
is prophetic. We were
it
expecting you
was
to have
you were
them.
expecting. I like that. It didn't motivate me. I was like, why don't you give me that money to travel or to do a course? We are
Exactly.
in a place, and this is over a decade ago when I asked, I brought that conversation up. Now, globally, people are doing what we call the cafeteria of benefits. Job levels, job notches, job groupings. Agree as an employer, this is the cost of the role, and
Mm-hmm.
open up a set of benefits that an employee can actually choose and pick at the cost. So if you're thinking about cost, you've set the cost. So for somebody, maybe my father is a medical doctor, owns a hospital. Medical care may not necessarily be the thing that I want as a benefit. So if
Yeah.
you give me the opportunity, I'll choose a sports club for that amount of money. So all you're
Mm-hmm.
saying is that Mami wants medical care, Sarah wants sports, Sam wants coaching. We are all on the same job level. Nobody is getting anything that exceeds 500 Ghana cedis for this
Mm-hmm.
benefit. That's it. Now you
Mm-hmm.
have about 5 options for every employee to choose. So you don't also open it up because administratively it will be a nightmare. So
Yeah.
you give buckets of things at the same cost to company, because the CFO and the HR people are always interested in the cost to company. So it's the same cost to company, but offer because I've offered housing to a Gen Z who wasn't picking it up. And when I talk about it, it was only yesterday I realized everybody I'm talking to is actually very millennial or older. So they find it to be, oh, wow. But to him, it was not the biggest deal. Why do you want to give me housing? It wasn't the biggest deal. He didn't mind crashing at a friend's wherever. They don't care. You understand? So if that benefit came into, say, he buying like the latest headset or something, maybe he would have appreciated it better. Maybe he would have been a lot more engaged as an employee. So we need to always be thinking around this. So James, if it's possible, and this is a very high level company comp and ben policy direction, this is what you can do. Put the cost to it and open up a few options so that the different generations can pick and choose what suits them.
Yeah. Just a quick add, on that, that's brilliant. But from the presentation Maame has given us, you see that the different generations value different things. So, for example, the boomers value loyalty and recognition and experience.
Yes.
So, to motivate them, you have to recognize that they've been here. Maybe a hatchet. No, you have to put a price on the maybe a hatchet. They are the ones who are happy to have a 10-year award,
long service award,
and those things. So, because for them that is important that we have been here. So the boomers will love that, but the Gen Zs not. But what's that to me? The X people want autonomy, they want flexibility. So the Gen X too, they are the ones that you're saying, okay, do you want to come to the office every day, or you want to choose between coming to the office? You have the flexibility to come once a day, choose the day you want. So it's not like every Monday everybody should come to the office. But maybe I prefer to come on Friday. So the Gen X's want the autonomy and flexibility to choose. All right. So you have to look at that dimension. And the millennials are looking at, purpose driven. What is this about? They are the people of the world. They like collaboration. So they want to work, network, and talk to people. So for them, they want to see what is this, what is in this, what is the purpose of this. So everything you are challenging them to get a purpose. And the Z people, they are the techs of this world, innovation, opportunity. They want feedback quickly. Let's not move. So for them, that will motivate them. So different, because of the differences in what they value, if you understand that, that will enable you to motivate them differently. And it goes to the basic leadership principle that you don't lead everybody equally. You have, as a leader, to lead people differently based on who they are. Now, that's a concept that is difficult for managers, because management likes this consistency and the system and everybody to fix. But leaders lead people differently. You need to understand them. So I wanted to add that quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is excellent. It's really an interesting topic today, what you have shared with us, Maame. But I'm coming back to what Catherine said. Would you provide coaching to help leaders navigate these differences?
Yes.
And before you answer that also, is there any company or any organization that is brilliantly orchestrating this sort of leadership? Is there a typical example?
Yes. So mindful governance is putting together a lot of let's say programs and sessions that is navigating these conversations, and they work very closely with us at 565. And when we put the two together, because what we are talking about is basically orchestrating organizational culture, and this together with proper governance is the way to go. So the two businesses basically work in collaboration with the leaders, and it's from boardroom to the C-suite. that all these things can transcend. Because sometimes we have these conversations and we assume that managers have the liberty to do all the things Maame is talking about. You could actually be in a place wanting to, having the zeal to, and the policy restrictions will not allow you to implement a single thing we've spoken about tonight. So we need to get to a place where we are curating workplace cultures and defining governance conversations that allow these to be the everyday conversation. You're thinking, oh, if we go for a board meeting, we don't talk about finance and then we have a no. If this is not working, you can finance all you want. Your bottom line will struggle because you have energies going out that should actually be targeting productive hours. And in the culture work, we have a name for it. So we are very excited about this topic, not just for the conversation on the leadership platform at CTL, but to move it into actual work. What do we do? How do we support leaders? How do we support organizations to bring these conversations to the everyday leadership table, in addition to investment, in addition to risk, in addition to everything else that's important to grow the business? So, Sarah, yes, we are very ready and prepared and equipped to coach leaders around these, and we have organizations, and Mindful Governance and 565 work together to collaborate with entities or businesses, be it leaders or owners or founders, to make sure that these generational conversations are working positively towards their bottom line. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And since I'm the host here today, I think I will put in this, I think it's in July that there is the seminar coming on mindful
Yes.
governance. And
Yes.
definitely CTL is also associated with that. And we will
Yes.
invite our audience to really participate. Is it in July? What are the
Yes.
dates?
It's a 16th, on 16th July.
16 July. So please reach
Yes.
out to CTL, reach out to
Yes.
Maame, and definitely you get the details to be able
Yes.
to participate. And I guess
Yes.
it's curated. If you
Yes.
don't, yeah, it's curated. And if you don't um, register early, you may not be part of the
You
conversation.
may not get a seat.
So please
Yes.
do, yeah, please do.
Good.
And for Sam, I think time is already up, Mami. What is the
Yeah.
dessert that you have for us? I mean, it's been a very powerful conversation. So, what
Thank
will be
you.
your pattern shot for us?
I'll say this is an everyday conversation. We make it look like seasonal. Don't wait
Yeah.
till the exits begin before you have it. Start having the conversations now. Thank you.
All right, great. So, viewers and audience, thank you so much for your active participation. This has been our 250th episode, and it's been really great having you. It's great you were here. If you hadn't been, we wouldn't have had this amazing conversation. And a big thank you to all of you, to Mami, and to the CTL team. And Uncle
Just
Sam, what do you say?
just one quick announcement. CTL is announced a program that is coming. We call it the Executive Leadership Experience.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be 5 days. We are taking you away to Rwanda, Kigali, for 5 days.
Excellent.
And check our social media and our website for more details. It's in the end of May to beginning of June. The places are only 20. We're taking 20 people. We're going to Rwanda. We're going to take you through our 5 pillars of leadership mindset, leading self, leading others, leading teams, and leading institutions. But beyond that, we are going to give you a taste of Rwanda, some touch of tourism, some cultural immersions. We're visiting some organizations. We will get some thought leaders in Rwanda to share the Rwanda story with you. So check our social media and website and register before it is too late. Get on board. Thank you very much, Sarah. And thank you, Maame. Great conversations as always. And everybody, thank you. Sarah, thank you for leading the discussion.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it has been the leadership platform. And thank you so much. Good night. And we'll see you next week at the same time, same place, and another amazing leader coming to share with us. So good night, everyone.